The cases of Australian flu, they've now been reported in every part of the country, with the final two areas, Dorchester and the City of London. They were like the last bastions, now also recording incident. The latest statistics suggest around 4.5 million people in England are suffering from flu-like symptoms, with cases soaring by 48% in a week. Well, joining us now to tell us how to cope if you catch the bug is Dr. Hilary. I guess, well, the two questions really: how do we avoid getting it when everyone around us has got it, and what do we do if we get it?
Well, the very first thing to do is get vaccinated. That's the best protection against the flu.
Even now?
Even now, it's not too late, absolutely. Okay. And even though it's only 40 to 60% effective, that means out of every 100 people exposed to the flu virus, 40 to 60 will be protected. That's pretty good. So it's definitely the first thing to do. Second thing is to wash your hands frequently, because people think that it's coughs and sneezes that spread diseases, and they do, but it's hard surfaces that the virus lands on. The virus can live there for 24 hours. So things like doorknobs, banisters, cash machines, wear gloves, use hand sanitizers, wash your hands frequently with soap and water, and that will protect you to a large extent.
Lots of people getting colds, lots of people getting flu, lots of people thinking they've got Australian flu or the killer flu. Do you know whether you have had this particular type of flu? Is there any particular symptom that distinguishes it?
No, the only way is that the virus is going to be more virulent if it's the H3N2 strain of A influenza.
So all the other flus are still out there?
Yeah, the B influenza's out there, C influenza's out there, and 4.5 million people in this country have got some kind of flu, but not all of them have got H3N2. It is a very nasty bug, that particular one. It's decimating people in France and in the US, and it's definitely coming here. As you said, increase of 48% of the people. So if you do get the flu, then the thing to do is get to bed. You'll want to anyway. You'll be exhausted. You'll have a high fever, chills, muscle aches, headache, sore throat. If you get chest pain, breathlessness, and you've already got a pre-existing condition and you're not better in 7 days, you certainly need to call your doctor.
Can I ask one other thing? Lots of people, anecdotally, say when they've had the flu jab, it either doesn't stop them getting the flu, or they feel like they've got something worse.
Right, well, it can't make them feel worse because it's a dead virus. It can't make you ill. It'll stimulate your immune system. If you do get ill, it's a coincidence. It's something else is happening whilst you've had the flu vaccine.
I got the flu after having the jab for the first time actually in America, but it's because they got the wrong strain that year in America.
Yeah.
Most people were having the jab for the wrong strain, and it can happen, can't it?
I mean, to a certain extent, the 3 strains that they put in the vaccine is based on what's going on in the Southern Hemisphere in their winter. So there's a little bit of guesswork involved. It's usually they're very successful. Last year, they missed out on that H3N2 strain, which is harder to get a good vaccine for. But it's still worth having the vaccine. That's really important, particularly for people with pre-existing conditions.
Can I ask you one thing? With all this NHS crisis stuff, right? Is it as bad as you've known it?
Yeah.
It is?
For sure.
Worse?
For sure. Absolutely. Everybody I speak to, everybody who works on the front line is saying, you know, it is increasingly difficult to cope. We've got people in corridors with no beds to put them in, and they deserve beds. The staff are working around the clock and doing a fantastic job.
And are the Tories
really are
any worse at this than Labour were when they were in power?
It's consecutive governments. We thank the Labour government for bringing the NHS in when they did. It was the best thing the Socialists ever did. However, we haven't looked after the NHS, and it's doing far more today than it was ever intended to do.
You please, Jeremy Hunt is keeping his job?
No, I'm not, because every month I get warnings from the experts, from the Royal College of GPs, the Royal College of Emergency Medicine, from the Ambulance Union. Every month I've been collecting a file which is now that deep for the last 2 years, saying we are heading for a crisis, and nothing has been done. So if you've got a health secretary who's done nothing, who says now I apologise, you've got to look at why didn't you do more? But we have to be imaginative and creative and say, how are we going to fund this better, and how can we look after the most vulnerable people in our society?